Welcome to Papa's Perspective, brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store and mattress partner of the New York Giants, as we welcome you into the Hackensack Meridian Health podcast studio. Keep getting better. We're joined by Super Bowl champion Henry Hynoski on this edition. And Henry, good to see you, my man.
Always a pleasure, my friend. How are you?
Good. What was it like walking in the building?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. It's such a special place, such a special organization. Just brings back so many great memories, and seeing all the people that were still here when I was playing. It's like a reunion, and you're just welcomed right back in, right back at home.
So with training camp, going on right now, as we're recording this, take me back to 2011, because a lot of people thought you would get drafted coming out of Pittsburgh. You wind up signing with the Giants as a free agent. What was that whole experience like, trying to make the team, and then at the end of the year, you're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy?
It was absolutely amazing. Everything came full circle. I was predicted to be drafted, to be the first fullback off the board. That's what all the experts said anyways. But at the combine, I got hurt. Had a hamstring injury, wasn't able to finish the combine, wasn't able to do any pro days, so it definitely affected my draft status. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world, because at that point I got to pick where I wanted to go, and New York was always the team that I had my eye on, and during the draft I was praying that it was going to be the Giants. But God has a plan, and it worked out, and I wouldn't change it for a thing. But it just all happened so fast. It was like a huge whirlwind. And, we get to training camp, and they hand me a playbook and said, well, Bear Pasco's, negotiating his contract. You're starting. Don't get Eli hurt. and then I, got my first start, the third preseason game, and then kept the job there and made the team. They told me I was starting. And then next thing you know, we're winning games. We're in the playoffs. And then here we are in the Super Bowl on the same field where I got hurt, and I thought at the combine in Indianapolis, where I thought my career was over at that point. And it just goes to show you, if you continue to stick to the grind and work hard, everything came full circle, and it works out.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You get hurt in Indianapolis at the combine, you win the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. Full circle for you. When you were looking at teams, and the Giants were one of the teams, even at that point in time, 2011, there were some teams that didn't carry fullbacks. Mm-hmm. They used tight ends, but it was more of a passing team. Mm-hmm. Is that one of the things that made the Giants attractive to you, with Bradshaw and Jacobs and their commitment to running the ball?
Absolutely. And just watching the NFL, over the course of my childhood and when I got in high school and college, it just seemed like all the teams that were successful in winning Super Bowls were able to run the football, especially late in the year when it was cold and you're on the road. And that's kind of what the Giants always epitomized. And I wanted to go to a team that, really focused on running the ball. And, obviously Eli Manning was the quarterback, so we could throw the ball a little bit too. But, it was always, the Giants was always a team that I had my eye on. And when the lockout ended, that was the other thing too. The lockout was that year, so I couldn't sign with the Giants right after the draft. Had to wait until the lockout ended. But when Coach Coughlin called me, to ask me to come on, and it just verified everything that I believed about this organization and what the Giants represented, especially from an offensive perspective.
All right, let's now take our audience on a journey, because you played 4 years with the Giants, you get a Super Bowl, you got the trophy. Now you got to think about life after football. Mm-hmm. Playing fullback does not have a long life expectancy as it is. Mm-hmm. What was the first thing you thought of? What am I doing next?
Well, I guess I was off to a really good start, and then I had the knee injury, and then that was a setback. I probably rushed that back a little faster than I should have, because later that year I made it back. I know they were talking about putting me off on IR and starting on IR because I had the knee injury in the spring, and then I ended up making it back for the opening game. Didn't do any training camp, but was ready for week 1 for the Cowboys. And I just wasn't quite myself. And then I ended up sustaining a pretty significant shoulder injury. And when a fullback gets a shoulder injury, that's essentially the kiss of death, unfortunately. But I can say, did my career last as long as I wanted to? No, I envisioned, playing 10, 12 years. But at the end of the day, it was a nice 4 to 5 years, and I really enjoyed my time, had a lot of wonderful experiences, and I gave it my all. I really did. I can look back and say that I have absolutely no regrets, because I know every single play and, every single situation, I brought it. And, it was all about team, and I cared about team. And, we got a Super Bowl out of it. And then my first year, so I thought we were going to get a couple more. I just thought this was the way it was supposed to go. But, it just makes you realize how special it is and how rare it is to actually accomplish that on the world's biggest stage.
So let's talk about life after ball, because you work your whole life as a kid. You're an elite athlete. Mm-hmm. You break through every barrier to eventually get in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. Football players at the age of 25 or 26, mm-hmm. after investing their entire youth into playing football, now have to start a new career.
That's correct. Yeah.
So what were the first steps when you knew that ball was over and deciding on a direction you wanted to go to?
Well, it was definitely tough. It was definitely a transition. When I was done with the Giants in 2015, went back home, really thought about it, what I wanted to do with the next steps were. Spent a lot of times in the woods hunting and fishing and, thinking about my options. And, I knew I had an opportunity here with the Giants. Came back as an intern because I thought, maybe I want to stay in the NFL, from either coaching or like a scouting perspective or, marketing, public relations, whatever it might be. And I accrued a lot of great experiences and knowledge about how, the NFL works and the ins and outs. And I really enjoyed doing the player evaluations. But ultimately, I missed home. I'm a country boy at heart, and, that's where my heart is. I loved my internship opportunity, loved working here. But, the big thing was I just wanted to go home and, and I wanted to make a difference when I went home and do something positive and productive to, help the community and help, especially young kids, reach their goals and, give them something to believe in, and give them confidence that they could do anything they set their minds to. So I thought, well, what better way than, to do that than education? And when I was with the Giants, we started, we would do different charity events and different community relations events, and we're going to schools in the city and trying to help kids and motivate kids that are having struggles or, having issues with grades. And just the thrill that we brought them coming in and being with them and spending a little time with them and, hearing about how they turned around and, became success stories. I thought, there's really something here. And, so that's when I decided while I was working here for the Giants, I went back and got my master's degree in education. And, it really worked out because I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I still get to come back to New York, which is my home away from home. And my wife's from here, and we come back often with our kids because we want them to experience what the city's like. And we're back every couple months, so we're away, but we're still here. We're only 2.5 hours away, so it's the perfect balance and the perfect blend.
So now in 2023, you're named the principal at Southern Columbia Area High School. Mm-hmm. Principal Hynoski. Yeah. What has that been like, and how much do you draw upon your experiences from your coaches like Coach Coughlin to execute your job now?
I'll tell you what, I learned so much from Coach Coughlin, the other coaches, but even just the leaders in this organization from management down, even, the director of player personnel. It's you learn a lot of the ins and outs of the business, and you're able to translate it to your job. So I actually started off at another school district. I was an assistant principal. I started off as a dean of students. Then I went back and got my another master's in educational leadership, and I was coaching football at that time too. So naturally, I tried to model myself off of, a blend of the coaches I had in my life, mainly Coach Coughlin, but, Coach Wanstead as well from when I was in college. And, the kids responded well to that. And, I was able to take a program that was struggling, that won over the course of the 3 years before I got there. They won, I think, 2 or 3 games. They were like 2-28 or something like that. And we were able to turn around and become, a winning competitive team that was playing for a district championship every year. And, then the opportunity came to go back to my alma mater. Southern's my alma mater. And I just couldn't pass that up. And, our school board had a policy in place that you can't coach if you're an administrator. And not that I was going to dethrone our current coach anyways, because he was my coach in high school. Still there. The man is the most winningest coach in Pennsylvania history, won 15 state titles, third most wins nationally. Obviously football wasn't in the cards at this point. Maybe down the road, we'll see. But right now I'm still applying those same principles as a principal to my students, even though I'm not a coach. Hard work, discipline, just doing what you love, staying out of trouble, doing the right things. That's what we preach, and we just want to make sure we get these kids and the community on the right path, and make sure that they become productive citizens beyond their days in high school.
What's the biggest challenge that you have to deal with the high school kids of today, as opposed to Henry Hynoski in high school, circa 2008, 9, and 10? Or actually a little bit before that. Social media,
and, just cell phones in general. When I was in high school, we still had the flip phones, and we were playing Snake on it. Now all the kids are, have their social media and their, texting. So I would say the technology is definitely the biggest adjustment. Now with that, so much positivity can come from it. All this AI, you can use it as a resource, not to cheat in school, because there is that, but you can use it as a resource now, where we need to be able to help kids use it for research perspectives, not to do the work for them, but it's not going anywhere. AI and tech isn't going anywhere. As educators, we have to embrace it and teach our kids how to utilize it properly.
You happy with how this whole thing has evolved for you?
Yeah, I really am. And, my whole life centers around my family, amazing wife, 2 beautiful, wonderful kids. And we're happy and we're healthy and we're in a great stage in our life. And ultimately, this is where I want to be, so I wouldn't change a thing. We had some hardships along the way, with the injuries and, with football and, being cut, being released and everything. But those things all happen to prepare you for the rest of your life. And I have absolutely no regrets, because I lived my life to the fullest, and I woke up every day and gave it 100%. And, I just love where I'm at. I really do.
And that name is etched on that Super Bowl 46 Lombardi Trophy in perpetuity.
Yep.
Now, when you have a staff meeting at the school as the principal, do you make sure everybody's there 5 minutes early?
Well, I'm a little more lenient when it comes to that, because we're talking about true academic professionals here, so I expect them to be there early. But if they're 2 or 3 minutes early, I'll cut them a break. But hopefully never late beyond the threshold.
Henry, we appreciate you joining us. Congratulations, Principal Hynoski and Super Bowl 46 champion. Thanks for joining us on Popper's Perspective.
Thanks, Bob. Always a pleasure.
Popper's Perspective brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store and mattress partner of the New York Football Giants.